She ironed her blouse the night before, laid it out on the bed, chose her shoes carefully, set her alarm for 6 a.m. The way you prepare for the most important day of your life. And it was. Just not in any way she had ever imagined her most important day would look. Because in the morning she would walk into a courtroom, sit in a witness chair, place her hand on a Bible, and tell the truth about her son. Not to protect him, to convict him. Her name is Ruth. She is 61 years old. And the man sitting at the defendant's table, the man whose fate now rested partly on whatever came out of her mouth, had called her mom for 34 years, had fallen asleep on her chest as a newborn, had held her hand crossing streets until he was embarrassed to anymore, had called her just 3 years ago on Mother's Day and told her she was the best person he knew. And she had believed him. She still does. Marcus was not always the man he became on the night of September 4th. Ruth will tell you that. She'll tell you firmly, not as an excuse, as a fact she refuses to surrender, because surrendering it would mean the 34 years before that night meant nothing. He had been a good student, not exceptional, good. The kind of kid who tried harder than his grades showed. He had worked since he was 16, had his own apartment by 22, called his mother every Sunday without being asked. He had also, in his late 20s, found the wrong friendships, moved in circles Ruth had quietly worried about but never directly confronted, because he was an adult, because she didn't want to push him away, because she told herself it was just a phase. That particular regret lives in her chest like a stone she cannot put down. On the night of September 4th, Marcus and 2 other men attacked a man named Jerome outside a bar in their neighborhood. Jerome had said something. There had been history between them, a debt, a dispute, details that feel irrelevant against what happened next. Jerome was beaten badly enough to require surgery. He survived. He lost partial vision in his left eye. He was 29 years old, a father of 2. Marcus ran. His companions ran. A security camera caught all 3 faces. Ruth found out 3 days later. Not from Marcus, from a detective who knocked on her door at 8 a.m. and showed her a still image from the security footage. She recognized her son's face in 0.3 seconds, the way only a mother can. She closed the door, sat on her kitchen floor, and stayed there. What happened inside Ruth in the days that followed is the real story here. Because she is not a woman without loyalty. She is not a woman who gave up on her son easily or quickly or without tremendous pain. She called a lawyer, for Marcus, not herself. She visited him when he was eventually brought in. She sat across from him in a visitation room and looked at the face she had known longer than any other face in her life, and she asked him directly. He looked at the table. He didn't say no. Ruth went home. She thought about Jerome, about his left eye, about his 2 children, about what it means to love your son so completely that you would let another man's suffering go unanswered to protect him. And she decided, in the quiet of her kitchen, alone, without anyone telling her what to do, that she could not. She called the prosecutor's office the following morning. Marcus saw her walk in. Ruth has described that moment in the single interview she has given since the trial. She said he looked at her the way he had looked at her as a small boy when he had done something wrong and been caught. Not angry, not defiant, just devastated, just her son. She took the oath. She answered every question the prosecutor asked. She confirmed what she had seen in the photograph. She described conversations she and Marcus had in the days after the attack, conversations in which she had said enough, implied enough for her testimony to matter. She did not embellish, she did not perform, she simply told the truth in a steady voice that only broke once on the last answer of her testimony, when the prosecutor asked if the man in the security footage was her son. She said yes, and then she looked at Marcus directly for the first and only time during her testimony, and mouthed 3 words that the courtroom could not hear. "I love you." He turned away. Marcus was convicted. He received 4 years. He has not spoken to Ruth since the day she took the stand. His letters go unanswered, not because he writes cruel things, but because he doesn't write at all. The silence is its own verdict. Ruth has said she made peace with the possibility that she may never get her son back, that the relationship she had with him, the Sunday phone calls, the Mother's Day compliments, the hand-holding across streets, may be the past tense version of something that no longer exists in present tense. She said it is the price she paid for doing what was right. She believes it was worth it. Jerome sent her a letter 6 months after the trial. 2 paragraphs, handwritten. He thanked her. He said he didn't know if he could have done what she did. He said his children still had their father because of a lot of things, doctors, luck, time, but also because of her. Ruth has read that letter more times than she can count. It doesn't fill the space her son left, but it reminds her why the space exists. And on the hardest days, the Sundays when her phone doesn't ring, that reminder is the only thing that holds. There is no clean way to end Ruth's story, because it isn't over. Marcus will be released. What happens between them after that, whether silence becomes conversation, whether conversation becomes something resembling repair, nobody knows, including Ruth. What we do know is this: she walked into that courtroom not because it was easy, not because she had stopped loving her son, but because love, real love, the kind that costs something, sometimes looks like the hardest thing you have ever done in a room full of people who will never fully understand why you did it. Ruth understood. That was enough. If this story moved you, share it. And if you're new here, subscribe. Because moral courage is the rarest kind, and the people who carry it quietly deserve to be seen. This is Justice and Life Stories, and we'll be back with another truth the world needs to hear.